Hihani washte, Suzanne Kite macha pika sto, Aglala hamacha, Chante washte napechuzapo. My name is Suzanne Kite. I am an artist and an academic based in the Hudson Valley, Mohicaniac, and in New York. I'm a assistant professor at Bard College, and I'm the director of the Wahamble Sa'a Indigenous AI Center at Bard College. And I am mostly based in an artistic practice, but spent a lot of time thinking about the importance of Indigenous perspectives on artificial intelligence. Indigenous Futurism is an extremely important perspective. First of all, it draws heavily from Afrofuturism, which has really taught me personally a lot of the difficult techniques of imagining oneself and one's family in the future, when the future around us that's being built by not our families is constantly attempting to exclude us. So, for example, my collaborator, Alicia B. Wormsley, who's a Afrofuturist based in Pittsburgh, put up signs that just said there are Black people in the future, which were met with disdain by some community members. And that simple act of saying that we will be in the future is powerful. But beyond that, on the projects that relate to Indigenous AI that I work on, we have imaginaries, Indigenous future imaginaries as an entire axis of our research problems and our research organization, which Jason Edward Lewis has put forth as a way of populating the future with our people and our the things that make up our world, our ontologies, our epistemologies. So Indigenous Futurism is very powerful in saying that there is a place for us and our peoples in 10 years, in 20 years, in 100 years.
Adil Catalino, Bacuramin Kasaruga Basengat Kajubata, Arus, greetings from Kalimantan. That's the greetings in my mother tongue. I come from Kalimantan. I belong to Dayak communities, the first people of Kalimantan, and my name is Emmanuela Shinta. I work, you can call me as an activist if you want, or filmmaker or writer, but basically what I've been doing for the past 10 years is to um, advocate for the rights of my people. And Brandon Foundation is an organization that I started like 10 years ago with the idea to change the narrative, to change the way people see us, Dayak people, and to empower the community through indigenous filmmaking. So with these organizations, actually, there are so many things that we do, but the main idea of the initiatives that we started is to combine both modern technologies and indigenous wisdoms and make it as a tool to preserve the culture, to protect the forests, Kalimantan rainforest, and to fight for indigenous rights. So when we talk about the narrative about the indigenous community, it's quite interesting actually, because commonly people will have these two assumptions about the indigenous community. The first one is a victim story. So they look at the indigenous communities as a victim, with all these histories, colonializations, and then suffering, marginalized, and so on. That the very first thing. And then the second one is the romanticizations. It's like beautifications, like culture, traditions, and indigenous way of life. Like it's being romanticized, published in a lot of journals and films, and people from the other side of the world say that, oh yeah, that's the beauty, that's the beautiful culture we need to protect, don't touch them. I mean, just the things always have, like various meanings when it is interpreted like in one way or another. But ideally for us, the indigenous communities, it's not just about the struggles and the beauty themselves. um, because there are so many people, when they have these assumptions about us, specifically Dayak people here in Kalimantan, they always get that understanding and like build their perceptions about us based on what the others tell, right? Not because what we tell them, right? And it doesn't apply only for my community. I mean, like I found like it applies everywhere in the world. Like the stories and the narratives from indigenous community always being told by someone else. So that's why whether it is a struggle and then it becomes like a victim story, it doesn't serve the community actually. Because why? People will look at us like, oh, you're so pretty, oh, you're like you're miserable. But what happened after that? Nothing changed, right? Even though we talk about the colonizations and all these environmental disasters or whatever, people only say that's so sad, and it stops just like that. And on the other hand, all these romanticizations, it also doesn't set the community. Why? Because now not only the natural resources that are being exploited, even the culture also can be exploited in such a way, right? Especially in this modern era where you can easily earn money by showing the films or like videos. You can get the bonus, you can get the advertisement, when you show, hey, this is from the other part of the world, this is how the communities live. But what happened after that? Nothing. It's just another perception, another perspective built on the narrative that told by someone else, the outsider. So this is what exactly what we experience here in Kalimantan. Like for Dayak people, we are the first people of the island. We are the part of Indonesia. Actually, because we, like our ancestors, voluntarily wanted to submit and become the part of Indonesian country. Right. It's not because like some military had to come from Java and say like, hey, Kalimantan, you have to be the part of Indonesia. No, but because at the time our forefathers believed in Indonesia that it is said, hey, you can manage your own natural resources, and then like you're the part of these nations. We built this nation together, right? And then we know what happened with the histories of Indonesian dictatorships and so on. Now, what we have here in Kalimantan is discrimination, marginalizations, exploitations, and other violations, the list of violations of indigenous rights. And it is caused because people beyond the Kalimantan island, they have their own concept about the Dayak people, right? And when stories come from the perspective of the outsiders, I will say this, it will make people think that's the only truth, right? The way we dress, the way we talk, the way Dayak people, like interact with the natures, with the wildlife, along with some rumors and stigma in Indonesia. And then they will say, um, yeah, Kalimantan people, they're eating human flesh. They're not wearing any clothes, and they live um on the trees, something like that. And even some people say like we have tails. So this is what happened when you let people um, make a narrative, like like tell the narratives from their own perspective, but never really listen to the communities. And in terms of our land management and natural resources, it happens the same way, right? They say, hey, if you want to protect this wildlife, the indigenous community, you should stop hunting. Because why? You make this species extinct. That's what the Western conservationists say about us. But let's see, if you come here, like really stand in the middle of the jungle of Kalimantan and really see with your own eyes what happenings, the distractions and the slaughter animals, this wildlife escape, and then they lose their habitats. It's not because of the hunting of the communities. It's because of the deforestation caused by the conversion of the forest and the land into the extractive industry. Like what? Mining, palm oil, lodging. And who caused that? Not the community. It's an outsider. It's an investor. It's a giant corporations that look at the forest as a source of income rather than the life itself. So currently, my work is to challenge this narrative, okay? Whether it is about our way of life, our culture, or even our knowledge and wisdoms in managing our own land and territory. And I really like this proverb. Um, I think it's an African proverb. Like the story will always glorify the hunter until the lion learns to talk. So until we share the story ourselves, until we tell people about what's really happening, what we think about it, and our experience living here in Kalimantan with our way of life, the way we manage the forest, the soil, the way we respect the natures, until we tell that with our own words, through our own lens, in our own perspective, and then nothing will change, right? So that's why, since 10 years ago, my team and I, we commit, like, we have to we have to tell this story. We have to speak up, because if not us, then who, right? And I found out that media is a very effective way to do that. I mean, you know, it's just different. I know, like, it's hard for people to get into Kalimantan. It's like it's it's a big island. I mean, like, it's such a long way you want to fly to Kalimantan. Not everyone can really experience that. Not everyone can see the rainforest by themselves. But through films and videos that we made, we can show them, here it is. This is this is the beauty of Kalimantan that we have to protect. Yeah. This is the forest. This is the trees. This is the natural resources. This is the river. And we love it. We Dayak people protect it. I can show you not just all these victim stories where indigenous people, especially Kalimantan, like being depicted as the one who start the forest fires, and then, like, with all the poverty and suffering. No, but we will show them this is how we protect this island, this is how we protect the land, this is how we restore, this is how we think about what God has given to us, the nature that provide everything, the mother earth, right? So yeah, basically, that's what we are doing. Um and I believe that, by doing so, it doesn't matter how people perceive it, but now we will have more reference and informations about Dayak community, rather than only a journal or films that is made subjectively, looking at Dayak people only as an object to fit their already existing frame. So yeah, I think that's the responsibility of my generations. um, we have to do it, right?